Dave, you know what's getting hit here pretty bad?
What?
Is Southwest Air.
Yeah.
We've got to address this because Southwest Air is an unbelievably good operator. Obviously down 3 earlier, now it's down $1.7, but it's falling sharply. And the airline is pulling the Boeing, here we go, pulling the Boeing 737 MAX until next year, worrying about higher than expected costs. What a transparent man this is. Joining us now exclusively, Southwest Airlines Chairman and CEO, Gary Kelly. Gary, thank you so much for always being straightforward and coming on the tough days, too. Gary, the first thing I saw, because I use the Newark Airport all the time, you're pulling out of Newark. Is this something that is related to real issues involving time to pull in your horns? Is this metaphorically important? Or what we're really talking about is don't worry about it, Jim. We're going to come back. The MAX will triumph over it. And that's just an asterisk. Because I read it as being, wow, maybe Southwest is in retreat.
Hey, Jim, good morning. And hey, this is a good day. We're managing our way through the MAX. I think as an overarching theme, I want to make sure that you all and your viewers understand that we have one issue, and it's the MAX. So no, we're not in retreat. The fact that Boeing found another issue extended the MAX grounding for the rest of the year. And so we're just in a situation where we need to tactically manage through that. Newark, just to cut to the bottom line on that, is very straightforward. We've consolidated our flying in Ohio to a couple of airports. We consolidated flying into Detroit by closing Flint last year. We serve one airport in Chicago, one in Dallas, one in Houston. New York is a destination market for us. We don't have a large presence. We face very large competitors between JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. So this is simply a recognition that Newark is underperforming, and there's an opportunity to improve our New York performance by consolidating the operation into LaGuardia. We'll use those airplanes to focus on expanding in the interim here while we're not able to fly the MAX into Hawaii, where we're having great success. So we're simply redeploying resources here temporarily. We have great success in large markets by focusing on one airport. We'll have more seats in LaGuardia, and we'll serve our customers well there. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that you all were clear on is that our cost outlook is really unchanged for the third and fourth quarter for the year, except for the effect of the MAX. So I feel really good about the cost work that is underway. Of course, we're incurring a huge penalty from the MAX being grounded, and the same applies to the revenue. Our revenue outlook for the third quarter is very consistent with what we saw in the second quarter, and is only impacted by year-over-year comps. We just had easier comps in the second quarter.
All right, now, Gary, let's just go right to it. From my perspective, Boeing has not handled this situation well. It seems like every day there's something new. I don't like when there's new revelations. What's it like to speak to them? Who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to the CFO, Greg Smith? Are you speaking to Molenberg? Do they have it under control in any way at all, do you think? Because I've got to tell you, they are always about safety. But, Gary, if you had to botch it, I think that they figured out how to do it. You tell me what's really going on behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, we're talking to everybody that you would expect us to be talking to, Jim, and certainly we're talking with Dennis. We talk with Kevin McAllister, the CEO of Boeing Commercial. Boeing's a great company. They're an important company for our country, and obviously we are an all Boeing customer, and it's my desire that we continue to do that. So we're working our way through this problem. If you go back to March with the grounding, we were anticipating that this would be very temporary. We'd be back up and flying in a couple of months, and now it's extended, obviously, to the entire year. And I'm assuming you all understand our schedule here with the MAX. It's really straightforward. I thought Seth captured it very well early this morning. But if Boeing isn't going to have the software ready until September 30th, it's going to take the FAA some time to review that and then unground the airplane. Then we've got 1 to 2 months worth of work to get the airplane flying again. So we're focused on that. It's a great airplane. It drives superior economics. Safety is not negotiable. So if we deemed it unsafe, we wouldn't even be having these discussions. But yeah, we're unhappy that it's taken so long, and we're in the dark on, just like you are, on a number of technical matters. Our pilots are heavily engaged and working with Boeing to understand the changes in terms of the software and the impact on flight control systems and things of that nature, and are very comfortable with the track that we're on. We just need this all to get done and get the airplane back in the air.
Meanwhile, Gary, your capacity guidance has gone from +5 to -1 to 2. I mean, what are you going to demand from Boeing to make good on this?
Well, Boeing's already come forward and said they've set aside, $4.9 billion, and we're their largest customer. We're the largest 737 operator in the world. We're obviously going to do what we think is right for our company and our shareholders. I'm not going to obviously negotiate here in public on that, but it's not a good situation. We're not happy about it. You saw here in the second quarter, it cost us $175 million, and that will be more in the third quarter. One thing, as I assume you all know, we were anticipating getting 41 more deliveries of the MAX this year, and so our exposure with our route system grows. And again, that's why we decided to make the change with Newark, because there are needs that we have in our route system where we need to add flights, and we're just not in a situation right now where we can afford to have flights that are not as productive. So the good news is our route system is really healthy. The demand for travel is really strong. Our competitors are benefiting here, in the meantime, which I certainly don't like. But it's all short-lived. This too shall pass, and I'm hoping we'll have a nice, clean 2020 where we can get back on track.
Yeah, to that point, though, I mean, you said moments ago, Gary, that you're in the dark on a number of the technical matters that Boeing is dealing with. Would it be your hope that they can be more transparent, or is it your expectation that in the weeks and months ahead, you're going to continue to be in the dark on some of these things?
Well, and all I meant was, the issue that was discovered last month that's created this delay now until at least September, we had no awareness of. And so I just don't know what else there is. An airplane is a complicated machine, so I wouldn't expect that we're going to know 100% of what is involved there. But assuming that we know everything that we need to know, we've got a plan, we've got a path. We'll be growing next year, and I would hope that by the middle of 2020 that we're more or less back in line with our fleet plan. As I've looked at all of our markets as an example here in their performance in the second quarter, we have very high load factors. We've trimmed back flights to deal with a 7% cut in our capacity in the second quarter. Everywhere I go, our markets are telling me, Gary, we need more flights. Our flights are down from a year ago. Our customers aren't happy. Our employees aren't as productive. So we're muddling through. And again, I'll point out, and I know you all know, but our earnings per share, even in this environment, were up 8.7%. So it is worthy of note that our employees have done a phenomenal job, muddling through this mess. And again, we'll get through it. We'll be healthy, and we'll be ready for 2020. And everybody should look out.
All right, so Gary, what happens if your competition, which doesn't have as many of MAX, says, you know what, we're going to keep the MAXs out? We question their safety. Why would anyone fly a Southwest MAX if, say, an American MAX was grounded?
Well, that's pure speculation. I don't want to speculate. There's no hint that is going to happen. Regardless, Jim, we've got work to do to convince our people and our customers that it is wise for us to continue to operate the MAX. And we know that, and we're up to the task. All the research that we do shows that Southwest enjoys a very strong brand ranking and a very strong customer loyalty and following, and there's a trust there. And I can assure you we're not going to do anything to lose that trust. But nonetheless, yeah, we're going to have a lot of communication. Our pilots will play a key role in articulating why it is safe to fly the MAX. And I don't think safety is an issue here, but we're going to have to convince all of our customers of that, and we'll be up to that task as well.
One last thing, Gary. Before we talked to you, we mentioned Muhlenberg's comment yesterday raising the possibility of shutting down the line. Just your response to that?
Well, I haven't talked to Boeing about that, and I've read some of the media reaction to it. I think it's an overreaction. So I'll violate my rule here and I'll speculate a little bit because I haven't talked to them. But I think it's just being pragmatic and saying, if you just look at our situation, we've got 34 MAXs that we're responsible for. We had to find a place to park them. They're in Victorville, California, and there's an ongoing maintenance of those aircraft as required. So now that Boeing has gone from sort of a 90-day out of service to something that's more like 9 months, and they're continuing to produce airplanes, they're piling up, and they have to find places to put them, then we have a complication. And so, again, they're going to owe us 41 airplanes by the end of the year. It's complicated to see how they're going to put those airplanes through the certification process and get them delivered to us. So you can only pile up this, inventory of airplanes so much, I think is what they're saying. And I am empathetic to that because it is complicated, and we know it because we're involved with that. So I don't think they're saying that they're going to discontinue the MAX. The MAX is a huge part of Boeing's future, and it's a great airplane. There's no reason to think that way. But in any event, we want our airplanes just as fast as we can get them, and we want Boeing to keep that production line open.
All right, Gary Kelly, thank you as always for your candor. Gary Kelly of Southwest Air. Thank you so much.